Hello and welcome to the road to Innsmouth. Join us as we take a journey into the world of the strange, creepy and unexplained. We're your hosts, I'm Matt.
I'm Gareth.
And today's episode is on werewolf sightings in Wales. First, we would just like to give a shout out to our friends over at CryptidTV. So please go follow them and give them a like on Facebook and Twitter. Their links will be in the description on both our YouTube channel under this episode and on our podcast episode. So go over, say hello. They're interested in all things cryptid and strange and paranormal. And so on with the episode.
Okay, so yeah, Werewolves of Wales. There seems to be a lot in Wales. That's why, because obviously werewolves we could go on forever, going back to the whole of Europe and beyond.
Wales is very much one of their cryptids in their psyche. It seems to be.
Yeah, but if we covered werewolves in general, werewolves go back thousands of years.
Oh, all over as well, yeah, and cross-pollinate with so many potential other things.
Oh yeah, some of these stories that were coming out of Wales, even though they're sort of a couple of 100 years old, are quite impressive.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we're starting. Well, most of them actually seem to be North Wales. I'm guessing because it's more mountainous and more smaller towns up there than there is.
Yeah, it's probably more rural. I mean, it still is, I think, fairly rural up there. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's mountainous, isn't it?
Yeah.
There, so, but it's a bit more rocky in North Wales.
Yeah.
So the first one I got is 1790, and it was between Denbigh and Wrexham, where a large black creature resembling a wolf jumped out and overturned a stagecoach, killed one of the horses, and another horse managed to escape. But it was all on a full moon as well. The locals claimed it was a red full moon. There was also a big fire that around the same sort of time, so they said the redness of the moon could have been just the atmosphere being red because of this big fire that was going on.
Oh, was that like a huge field fire or something?
It just said a massive fire.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
They could have turned this made, but then also you do get red moons. It could just be
you get like harvest moons and all that, don't you? So
it could have just been that way. A reason why it's red. But yeah, it was full moon red, and big wolf-like creature jumped out and overturned a stagecoach, killing one of the horses. Well, it killed one of the horses. It didn't kill it when it turned over. It did attack one of the horses. It killed it while the other one managed to escape. I'm guessing the reins and that broke. Doesn't actually say what happened to the people on the stagecoach though. I presume they maybe run off.
Was there? Oh, so there's witnesses. So that's good.
Oh, I presume so. So it overturned a stagecoach between Denbigh and Wrexham. So they must have been travelling. We've never said it doesn't in any of the reports. Never said what happened to the people. Just that he killed a horse and another horse escaped. So maybe the people escaped from the horse, or I presume someone must have reported it for this story to be out there. So
I mean, obviously you'd have the coach driver, but
yeah, I was going to say it might have just been the coach driver, and he could have escaped from the other horse.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe while the wolf-like creature was eating one of the horses, he managed to sneak off. Or maybe they just found the wreckage and he was dead inside. Who knows? So, but the next year, there was a farmer in Greshland. Not too sure on the Welsh pronunciations of places. He saw what looked like a giant wolf, and with a help from a blacksmith, they followed the trail of this wolf that led them to a field where they found a load of sheep and cattle and his sheepdog being torn to pieces.
Oh, okay.
At which point they were treated while being chased by a giant wolf back to a farmhouse that they found. I don't know if it's his farmhouse or was just a farmhouse that they happened to come across while they were running.
Yeah.
He managed to lock himself in the room. He doesn't say that he was with. I don't know. There was a few stories, but the ones I read didn't actually mention the blacksmith after this. It said he hid in the house under the table, I presume the blacksmith was there, and unless the blacksmith ran another way.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his house, and the blacksmith went back to his. But this wolf attacked the house. When people found him, he was cowering in the house, and apparently the place was destroyed. And whatever this creature was. And it was like a solid oak door that he'd smashed up. But he actually he said that he got onto his hind legs and looked through the window at him. And he had a human-like eyes. He could see that it was, rather than just being a wolf, there was something with the eyes that made him think it wasn't just a wolf. And plus, it was massive.
Is that the one where he said they were blue as well?
Might have been blue.
I think I saw a report where they said...
I have read a report with blue eyes, but I don't know if it was that one or one of the other ones. But yeah, it was... but when he said he got on his hind leg and looked through the window, I was like, well, I've seen dogs do that.
Yeah.
Animals do get on their hind legs to look at stuff. I'm sure they said it was as big as a bear. And when you said that bear story, it was kind of like, to destroy a cabin, a bear isn't too difficult.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You've got like a massive bear trying to smash through, and he's got the claws and everything. But I don't know about attacking sheep and cattle. There was ripped pieces, the cattle and the sheep and his dog in the field. Yeah. So it just sounds like the doggy may have been defending himself from, but why you just tear cattle to pieces and you're not eating it? Beyond
yeah.
Sounds like you're just killing for the sake of killing, not for food. Which doesn't seem right. I thought, you'd think it was just more of an instinct to eat rather than like a dog. I could understand defending yourself against.
Yeah, and also like a sheepdog is like taught to like stand its ground, isn't it, to protect the herd? So
if he's tearing up the sheep, the sheepdog's gonna try and.
yeah,
I can understand it. Maybe, well, not maybe tearing it to pieces, but maybe it doesn't take a lot to tear it to pieces if it's that big. But just attacking animals, tearing them to pieces seems a bit weird. But yeah, so there was another sighting not far from there 7 years later as well. But when they went looking, they sent out like like a local vigilante group, I guess. I don't know. But they sent people out to try and find this creature, and all they ever found was just footprints, and they never found the creature. But it was a year later in pretty much the same sort of area, little village around that sort of area, this big dog-like creature was seen.
It's weird that it happens every year.
Well, yeah. So they're describing it as a wolf, and I'm guessing around them wolves are around, big wolves, so it's something to describe it as.
Yeah.
Now, when I've read further into it, a lot of the creatures now either described as just black creatures that run. Not many of them are on hind legs either, because I was trying to think, well, maybe they're just confused with like Dogman or something like that. I suppose if it's turning into a wolf, it's going to run on all fours.
Yeah, especially these ones are like before the imagery of the bipedal like werewolf. This is like it was believed that people would turn physically into wolves. So
yeah, which is where the mythos came in France. They believed that they used to put wolf skin over them and turn, didn't they? They could throw a wolf skin over there as they're running.
And like you had the Viking marauders before that who used to use bear skins, and they like do the same thing and channel like the power of a bear when they fought and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. In France, there's actually there were witnesses of people actually taking the wolf skin, throwing it over them. So these are saying these are big creatures. But if you'd never seen a bear back in the 1790s, the next thing you knew was around would be a wolf.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever had that.
Silhouette, they don't look that different if you don't know, like, apart from their ears and stuff, they don't look. Especially if it's chasing you, you're not hardly going to study it, are you? So
no, yeah, exactly. Some black creature was ripping apart your cattle, and then suddenly decides he wants you as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if big wolves or big hairy black creatures. There was another one, same sort of area in Merithshire, and all I could get from reading different tales, it was somewhere between 1888 and 1912.
Okay, that's fairly big.
Yeah, the last story I read, the same story, but the same account was 1912. The first one was like 1888, and some of them just say the 19th century, some say the 20th century. Somewhere around there, this happened, and it was about Mrs. St. Dennis. Her name was. She was staying in a small village near a train, there was a train station, some quarries, so it's quite a secluded little village. And she was out painting when she saw a man stood on the tracks of the railway.
Oh, right.
He was staring intently at her, which gave her sort of the creep. So she sort of coughed a couple of times to try and get his attention or see if it could break his stare to no prevail. So she decided to ask him for the time. It was night time. I don't know why she was painting at night time, or maybe the sun was just going down. But so she asked him the time, which he didn't respond again, which made her feel really uneasy. So she decided to leave the little station. At which point the man decided to follow her. So realising she was sort of in a secluded area with only quarries around and no one would hear her cry, she decided to confront the man, to turn around and asked him what he wanted, or shouted at him, what do you want? At which point she realised it wasn't a man, it was a wolf, or a man's body covered in hair with a wolf's head.
Oh.
And grey hair as well, she said, covered his body.
I hadn't heard of this one. Interesting.
At which point he went to pounce, he went to attack her, and she pulled out her torch and flashed it into his eyes, at which point he cowered back, trying to protect his face from the bright light, and then she said he just disappeared into the darkness. But they did a search in the quarries. They actually found human remains, bones, and animal bones in one of the quarries.
And where was this, you said?
This was in Merithshire. I've read a couple of reports. I don't know, a couple of people have published the story on their website. Whether it's just come from one person's account, I couldn't really find out in there. But it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. If you Google search the Wolfman of Merithshire, I only found it today, so this is just a few little bits I wrote down from what I could, the story. But I found, if you type in Wolfman of Merithshire, find it comes up with one or two different websites with the story. Because when I first read it, I was like, am I just reading a story that someone's made up? Like a fictional account.
Yeah.
It seems to appear on a few different websites. So I was like, well, maybe it's not. But then it could be like that guy, if it's only one person's account, a bit like when we did Spring Hill Jack, some of the stories are just accounted by one person with no evidence.
Yeah. But it's interesting for the lore anyway, though.
Well, yeah. Whereas the first stories, like these ones in 1790, they're famous werewolf attacks.
Yeah.
To do within folklore in Wales, are well documented that they actually happened. Yeah, 7 years, there was another sighting. In 1992, there was another sighting. Someone saw the creature and then they found some dead lambs torn to pieces in the field. They saw a big creature covered in fur, and then they came across these dead lambs that looked like they'd been attacked. There's another one in another sighting in the mountains area, somewhere called Horseshoe Pass.
Oh yeah.
In Denbighshire, is it? There's another sighting there in 2007. There's no accounts. This is just people reporting seeing big wolf-like creatures.
Yeah.
And then when was that one you said about the guy with the bear?
Oh, right. So, yeah, this is a fun little article while we were researching. I just popped up as a news article. So this is in mid-1970s.
Yeah, I haven't got anything.
North Wales police were called out by a farmer near Brimbo who had reported his sheepdog dead. The responding police officer was taking a statement when he saw what he thought was a large black dog approaching them. As he got closer, he realised it was not. It was indeed a black bear approaching them. Farmer ran into his house. The police officer ran into his car, where apparently the bear then started clawing at the car and the windscreen until reinforcements arrived. Animal control arrived, and they located where the bear had come from, which was actually a local kennels, where the owner at the time had decided, somehow got hold of a black bear and decided to raise it himself, and it had escaped. And this is a press record down, this photo's taken. So these actual events do actually happen, which probably could account for a certain sightings of some black dogs and some big cats, etc. Could be genuine escaped animals that have been found or reported, especially around the 1970s, because you got into the dangerous animals ban.
Yeah, so lots of animals were released to the wild.
Yeah, so loads were just unscrupulous owners would release them rather than either paying for a fine or try and get a suitable area for them, and didn't want to pay the extra money. So especially around the 1970s, you get quite a big uptake of large cats or bears or things like that have probably genuinely been released by owners.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to the bear then. Did they kill it?
I think it went back to the owner.
Oh.
So either it was
black
like a genuine,
a brown bear's the biggest bear, isn't it? A black bear is what?
How big is smaller. It's like a really stocky big dog.
Are they? Oh, okay. So like, if it stood on its hind legs, it's like the size of a man.
Probably about 5 foot, 5'5", yeah.
Whereas a brown bear sort of could on its hind leg is like 7-8 foot.
Yeah, like the big grizzlies and stuff. Yeah. So, but I mean, this would easily be able to, it's the weight of the big man, regardless, because it's so stocky.
Well, yeah, and it's got claws and everything like that.
Yeah. So,
I didn't think one of the like people say if you see a grizzly, then you should be worried in the wild.
I think it's a black bear. I'm judging that purely because the photo made it looked like a black bear. But it could have just been in the colours different.
How many different types of bear there actually are? Well, I thought I read something that black bears wasn't, though they can be quite scary, they're not really threatening.
No, I mean, I don't know how different it is when they're like not in their natural habitat, etc.
Oh, yeah.
Or how well it was trained. But yeah, that was quite interesting. Just as some of these sightings could be genuine animals.
Well, yeah. It was interesting. I was reading an article about the big cats.
Yeah.
We were saying how sort of 100 years ago, everyone talked about shucks.
Yeah.
And how, the big black dog that you'd see in the wild was either an omen or something like that. Whereas now people are reporting these big black cats, panthers, but you don't really hear of people reporting the shucks.
No, I mean...
So is it one and the same thing? Or are we just getting confused now with what we're seeing?
Yeah, I was going to say to you, actually, because especially around the Wrexham area, there's an old legend of the Welsh devil dogs used to patrol that area, and they were very similar to the English black shucks, but with glowing red eyes, which resembled either a large bear or large wolf.
Yeah. I think I've read that story, actually, Wrexham, because when I was doing some research on Friston Forest, there is black shucks sightings around there, or dog sightings, whether or not it's a schnuck or not. But then it led on to the story of a pack of them somewhere.
But yeah, then there was a weird, in Wales again, there is the reports of a wild man / wolf man living in Carmarthenshire after a discovery of a tin shed structure in woodland.
Yeah, I've got that story.
Oh, cool, yeah. That's quite interesting.
Yeah. It was actually investigated by the Welsh 14 Society.
I had a look. Yeah, it was Centre for 14 Zoology. There, the guy who does all the Welsh reporting over that side went to see him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's evaded capture. So I don't know why they thought it was a werewolf or anything.
I think this is more like it's so into the Welsh psyche, because obviously your interesting thing would just be like it's either a homeless man or a man who just wants to live off the grid, away from society. You wouldn't instantly go, "Is that a werewolf?"
Yeah, well, it just said a shed full of food and clothes, and obviously food's been stolen in colder months, it said.
Yeah.
To survive when he's taking stuff. But it's not like they found dead animals in that shed.
No. The description is just a dishevelled, skinny man with like hair, matted hair and a big beard.
Yeah, but then I also found another one. When was this story? This was in 2010. There's also a story in 2012 where didn't save it, but there was a newspaper were asking for him to come forward, and they used his name, so they found out his name. but no one had heard from him for a few months, and they wanted to make sure he was okay and something had happened to him.
Oh, okay.
So there was actually, they obviously got back to the bottom of who he actually was and everything.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, a wild man, wasn't he? Such, but they referred to him
but
the
is it just that some of the newspapers jumped, like local newspapers jumped on it as a werewolf sighting or like a dog-headed sighting? I don't know. It's obviously something within the psyche there that in Wales.
There's one here. That story was 2010. I've just found one from 20. Yeah, here it is, 2012. A wolfman who's been living wild in Denswood for 5 years was being hunted last night. Police issued photos of the eccentric Wayne Morgan, 37, and appealed for help tracking him down for fears he could die in the cold weather.
They're still calling him a wolfman, which is interesting.
Yeah, apparently he's been hiding deep in the forest since 2007, surviving by hunting rabbits and foraging plants and berries. Locals used to glimpse him through the trees as they hiked and walked their dogs, but he always slipped back into the shadows.
Well, we know how easy it is to go missing in a wood if you want to.
Was it where was it?
Carmarthenshire, wasn't it? I'm not sure what wood it was in.
Yeah, heavily bearded man. But this is Pantyfinian Woods. I wonder. But this doesn't look like he lived in a tin shed. This looks like he lived in a tin tunnel.
Oh, interesting. That's a later report, so they may have changed the description. That's just what I read from the other report. Yeah,
they're worried that he may have passed away. Well, so this is. Bearded Wolfman has been holed up in 6 square miles of Pantyfine Woods near Ammanford, West Wales, riddled with old mines. 2 years ago, they stumbled across what they thought was his lair, a crude hideout stuffed with food, clothes, and rubbish. A woodland hermit after losing his job as a forestry worker. So they were appealing for him. So they found out who he was and stuff like that. He was just a hermit. Yeah. He obviously worked in the woods. But it's quite weird that the 14th Times Society Welsh sector were looking into it.
Yeah. No, it's quite weird that they still report it as a wolfman.
Yeah, even when they know who he is, they call him a wolfman.
Yeah,
rather than a wild man. But yeah, I was going to say, but on the last one I've got here was I got one you were saying about Old Stinky in Hull, which is not one there, but there was also 2006 in Norfolk. There was a driver who said they saw a massive wolf eating a carcass. Was that the one that you were saying about earlier?
Yeah.
This is Norfolk, 2006.
1 meter tall. It's up to its withers, which is the top of the shoulders on a horse. It's how you'd measure a horse. You don't obviously measure from its head. You measure from its shoulders. So that's a big animal.
Yeah. I found another one where a lady said that she saw. Oh, this is it, Mal, 2016.
Yep.
Which isn't that long ago. Where it was Robert and Nicole while driving home said they saw. This is in Cotswold, so it's on the Welsh borders, pretty much.
Yeah.
They saw. Well, they said it was a panther. What they thought was a big black panther in the road, staring at them. But they said it looked like a human on steroids, but roughly around 10 stone. So it was quite muscular, and so there was a photo online. You couldn't really see what it was, but when they drew a picture of it, what they've drawn looks more like like a werewolf. But that could just be his bad drawing.
Yeah, and if you've already thought about what it is that you want to.
No, they said it was a panther. So what he's actually drawn, he actually drew what looked like a human face covered in fur and fangs. But also the body, he only did the top shoulders, but he's given it looks really hairy so it didn't look. It looks more wolf like, werewolf like because of his drawing. But then not far from there, in Malvern, a lady saw what she said was a lot bigger than any dog she'd ever seen, eating something fluffy in roughly the same area.
Interesting.
But they could be big cat sightings and not bad drawings, but the way he's drawn the eyes and stuff, it does look like it's a cat. It looks more like a human cat rather than an animal. But not everyone can draw, can they?
No, that's true.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why. If you saw a panther, he could have just Googled an image and said this is what it looked like. Why he had to draw it? Because his photo wasn't that good. I don't know. Yeah. But what he drew, you can see the eyes look human, the face looks human, the way his expressions and the hair doesn't fit a panther's hair. It's quite like it looks like he's got a really bushy chest. And it looks more humanoid, the way he's drawn the body, the top half of the body, not like it would be the front of a cat panther looking at you.
Yeah.
But, there is sightings of big cats around that area. So in one of the reports, he said it circled his car, and in other reports, it doesn't. So one report said he just saw it sitting in the path, in the road, and they stopped and then quickly sped off when it moved. Another one said it looked like he was going to pounce on his car, so they left. And another one said it circled their car.
Oh, it's a little bit of poetic license taken to that then.
Yeah. But then it just went, but then the lady said she saw something a lot bigger eating something fluffy. This could have been anything, a rabbit or.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Back then, 1790, to knock down a stagecoach, that's big.
Yeah, that could be. I guess there's nothing exploring there. It could be someone who brought back a big cat, like a lion,
Well, yeah, I
and
don't. Yeah,
escaped, you know,
I don't know
or
because
a bear, like a proper
you do.
grizzly bear.
Like, well, I'm wondering if it was a bear when you describe a big creature and the damage it's done in both those stories. You know, a good year, only a year passed, and a bear could still be
Yeah, and
around.
bears are pretty
They come,
comfy going on
come out,
like 2 legs as well,
yeah, and to
and
come out of hibernation,
their
hungry,
eyes are much more human-like.
yeah, and to come out of hibernation and be hungry.
Yeah.
To do that damage. Because I don't know, you know, if you scared horses pulling a stagecoach, the chances are if they really went off, you'd probably flip a stagecoach anyway.
Yeah, it's like yeah, if you
They're
think
not-
of like if you're pulling a trailer now and you turn it and that trailer starts to go, it doesn't take that pivot point doesn't take a lot to
No.
once it
I got
momentum.
I got a trailer on the back of my bike when Lily goes in when I'm riding,
Mm.
and I think I can't. It says do not go round corners more than 5 miles an hour, and do not exceed 15 miles when you're on a straight.
Yeah.
Because it will topple because it's only on 2 wheels. So I can imagine 2 horses pulling a stagecoach aren't going to be racing over bumpy ground. It wouldn't take a lot to spook them, maybe flip it and then break away.
No.
And the modern ones, well, they could just be ABCs, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's interesting. It's still in people's minds, though. People love the werewolf.
Well, yeah, but there is in Cannock Chase. There's werewolf sightings in Cannock Chase.
Yeah.
You know? And there's like pack animals in Cannock Chase. But then you've also got Dog Man and Dog-Headed Man, or whatever you want to call them. They're also seen in Cannock Chase, so they could be the same thing. Then you've got Old Stinky in Hull.
Yeah.
Which is a great name. But see, smell is a weird one because, like Bigfoot and other creatures that are supposed or paranormal, if they're real or not, do tend to give off really strong, pungent smells.
Yeah.
So for calling him Old Stinky, I'm guessing it's because I haven't read the whole story, but I'm wondering if that's because he gives off a pungent smell when he's near.
He's meant to, yeah, because it's meant to be his terrible breath from eating all the corpses in the graveyard.
Yeah. Okay. So sort of when you think of like in, I don't know, skunk ape and stuff like that, they give off horrible where they've lived. Because if he's that story sounds like he's permanently a wolf, Old Stinky.
Well, yeah. Apart from that one witness who said they witnessed him transform.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. We have to do some more research into him.
Yeah, that sounds like almost a separate thing to look at itself.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a cryptid story on its own.
Yeah.
But maybe we should revisit that in a later episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he sounds quite... Because we want to do Cannock Chase, and obviously werewolves are there with about 50 million other things. Cannock Chase seems just to be a hotspot for everything strange in the UK.
Yeah, you could literally just go, what do you want to investigate? You could basically just go to there.
Yeah. Very strange. Obviously, and then we've got... Well, I'm having difficulty finding stuff on the forest.
Or Friston.
Yeah. But the stories around Friston with shucks and obviously the howling that was heard, or the whatever it was, apes. Yeah. I remember reading stories about like big cats around there, like up the road in Jeverton and places like that. And I can't find any of the news reports now, which is really bugging me. But obviously, and UFO sightings. I've heard people have told me of UFO sightings in that area, and I can't find any of them now.
I'll just have to proper sit down and actually have a look. Thank you all for listening. We will see you all next week. Please give us a rate on iTunes if you can. Drop us a like. Visit us on Facebook or visit our YouTube channel.
Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram, Twitter as well. All the links are in the description.
And email us if you've got any stories you want to share.
Yes, and please email us at innsmouth.info@yahoo.com. And we'll...
We've had one person do it now, so let's see if we can get another one.
Yeah, we've already got one, so we'll be having an episode on that soon.
So thank you for sending your stories, Gordon. Very interesting. But we will be in touch with you soon.
Yes, and we will see you all next week.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.